Hey, welcome back to another episode of Open Shutter. Thanks everyone for tuning in, whatever this thing is, wherever this thing is, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Thanks for watching and listening, and have the pleasure of welcoming Chris on. That's the applause.
Thank you
That's
so much.
a bunch of sound effects. Chris is a local photographer, and he's good friends with Eddie, a bunch of other people that have been on this show. So I figured I'd invite him on to chat about his story. So, man, thanks again for jumping on this thing.
I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, bro. So I don't know, maybe for the people that don't know who you are, maybe a quick intro about yourself.
So my name is Chis Noronha, and I mostly shoot a lot of like landscape and nature stuff, but it varies. Like it's all over the map right now. I'm based out of I live in Ajax, Ontario, so
Ajax,
the Durham side of
the East Enders, man.
The East End. I grew up in Scarborough, so I'm always like in that.
You're an East End guy.
I'm an East
End.
I'm
a West End guy. You're an East End guy.
Yes. I always like the East End is my side. So we're shooting pictures of like the Scarborough Bluffs or Rouge Park. That's where I usually am at. But so I've been shooting for quite a while now. This goes back to like 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. So
2007. What happened in 2007?
So here's a little funny story. So me and my wife, when we got married and we were going on our honeymoon, we were going to Mexico, and I just wanted to take like some nicer pictures. And back then, it's like phones didn't have good pictures, like good cameras at all.
2007 was what, like iPhone? Not even.
Not yet. Like iPhone 1 was
iPhone 1, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
But it was mostly like those little point and shoot Canons and Sonys and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go out and pick up a nice little DSLR to take some good pictures. I just wanted to capture something better than what was out there.
Right.
So then, while I was shooting, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, you know what? I could really get into this, and it was really cool. I've always been kind of a little bit of a tech gadget kind of guy. I love like
you're a gear guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. So it's like I always was like into like the newest video games or computers or that type of stuff. So that part of the photography side really like it made sense and it hit. But then when I started finding out about the creative side of it and almost learning about the art of photography, like how to take a picture properly and like the different rules and all that stuff. And then that's where it was like that jumping into the rabbit hole type of thing. And back in those days, like YouTube, there wasn't a whole lot available other than like books, maybe some online tutorials. Like I remember, if people remember Kelby 1 and the Kelby website, where you can actually pay a subscription for like some tutorials.
Wow.
But YouTube was still fairly new when it came.
So it was only like 2 years old, maybe in 2000.
Yeah, exactly. So it was hard to find stuff to answer my questions because I had a ton of questions, especially like when I was starting out and it was like, okay, how do I do this and like what should I do in this situation? So that was interesting. One thing I did later on, actually not too far from when I first started, is I actually joined a photo club, like a local photo club.
Which one?
So mine, it was the Ajax Photography Club.
Are they still around?
They're still around. I'm no longer a member, but
why not?
You know what? It was COVID. COVID just ruined it.
Jesus.
I still, you know what? I still intend to like maybe join back up or join in a meeting.
Start your own, bro.
Start
your own.
But there's so many like local photo clubs like all over Ontario and everywhere, really.
There's a lot of groups out there. They're everywhere, man. You just gotta find the right one. You gotta find the right group.
And that's absolutely it.
Very important. Very important.
I found that my biggest growth as a photographer was when I joined the club, because I had a community of people that I could ask questions of, and they were more than happy to like answer any questions, more than willing to like share lenses with me or send over, hey, there's a good spot, there's a bird here, go check it out. And so that was huge, I felt, in my kind of journey type of thing.
Is it still kind of like 2007, 2008 kind of deal?
Yeah, closer maybe to 2009, 2010 is when I joined the club, and then like I was even like a board member.
Nice.
It was a cool experience in itself, but
Nice.
I can't recommend to new photographers who are just starting out. I can't recommend joining a photo club enough. It and like you said, you got to find the right one. You got to see which one works for you.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where that was definitely like the light bulb grew bigger type of thing.
Yeah. Because it kind of breaks down the barriers too.
Absolutely. It's the one of the hardest things that I found starting out is just how to answer the questions that I had. Because you don't have a community of people that you could just throw stuff out at.
Yeah, and you kind of feel silly asking the question. If you don't feel like you're in the right group, you might not ask the question right. That's why it's important to be in the right group, just so at least you can ask your questions. Because you know, we've all had the same question, but like, what the hell is ISO? What the hell do you mean by that?
Exactly. And that goes to the fact, like, learning from mistakes is huge. That's a huge thing. But you know, if you could just skip that one step and like progress even faster by asking those questions and getting the answer right then and there. And that's where, like, even Instagram, the community that's a bit on Instagram, there's so many people that are more than willing to like answer any questions or like help you. And it's
that's the power of Instagram, I think. It's just being able to connect the message.
I think
but some people are kind of afraid to though too, right? Like some people are kind of
absolutely. I think there's this idea that nobody wants to help anybody else out, and they keep all the information to themselves, which I think is far from the case.
That's not true.
Especially from all the people that I've dealt with, they were like, I'm happy to help. It's
100%, man. People, I think people want to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 9 times out of 10, they'll say, "Yeah, sure, no worries."
Yeah.
So,
and it makes you a stronger photographer. It makes you like just having that that you can bounce ideas or information off of people, and have a group like that almost at your fingertips type of thing.
Yeah, it kind of gets you. It also kind of gets you out of your own head too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you're just kind of like trying to figure something out on your own, it's not coming. It's just like kind of spinning your wheels, and then you just kind of like give up.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of like leverage other people's knowledge.
For sure.
Christine's asking you and your Star Wars, well, Chris.
Yes. For people that kind of follow me for a while, I'm a big, huge Star Wars nerd. So
favorite Star Wars movie?
Empire Strikes Back.
Really? Why?
And it's so. It also okay. I'm getting a little excited. This is how much.
Wow, let's do it. I love it.
As a kid, I always remember like the movie was just playing in the background.
Yeah.
And even though I might not have been actually watching it, I was just always on. Like to the point where I remember one of our VHS. This is how old I am. One of the VHSs that we back in the day, we had to buy a new one because we burnt it out at certain parts. It was just like from rewinding and going back or pausing it and stuff like that. So that's my thing. And I started collecting like statues. Like there's a bunch of statues. I don't do it anymore because now it's photography stuff. But
you gotta pick your vice.
Yes, absolutely.
That's funny. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day, and this guy went to Chile, like Santiago, Chile. And there's a Star Wars. Do you know what? There's like a Star Wars bar there.
There's a Star Wars bar there.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think there's like
they just opened like February. I'm like,
yeah. There's a guy I think in Santiago, Chile, or somewhere in Latin America, like in South America.
Yeah,
has like a really amazing collection too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there's some really crazy fans out there. Yeah, they are just like going hard at it.
There are.
But this bar is absolutely insane, man. Like it's like crazy. Like it's just out of this world. So
literally
out of this world. So next time you're in Santiago, when you want to swing by, right?
Soon enough.
You still have those photos that you took on your vacation with your wife?
I do. You know what? Probably the ones I wouldn't want to show because they were really horrible. Like,
you ever just like look back and say, man,
you know what? One thing that I actually somebody I forget, I can't remember which photographer mention this, but there's something that I do every year at New Year's in January. Is I'll go through my old catalog and go through like different dates and clean up my catalog, just delete stuff that I'll never keep. But there's so many times where I'll see a picture that I may have missed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I could actually like work with this. Or I now have like some editing trick or something that would make this pop or something like that.
Okay.
But also too, learning from, that's a horrible picture. Yeah. I know never to do that again.
Yeah.
From way back when.
So you just pick a date in your catalog. Like how do you go through your catalog?
So I organize my catalogs per year.
Yeah. So you go through the year, like the previous year. So this year,
2 years back.
Every January.
Every January, yeah.
Holy moly!
And just delete, like literally crap that it's like. Why do I have 15 pictures of the same bird in like the same sequence? So it's just it's a matter of just like cleaning stuff up, but also just remembering what I did over the years, because sometimes you almost forget. You're like, I can't even believe that I shot this. I don't remember shooting this. And there's some good pictures that I might have just thought, hey, you know what? I'll wait to edit these. And then you got some pictures to pop up on Instagram or something.
Yeah, you kind of detach from the moment too, and kind of like let the photos breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I'm notorious for that. I have stuff that's just sitting there. I call it stewing, because they just
marinating.
They're marinating,
marinating in the creative juices.
Absolutely, it's I guess a blessing and a curse. They just sit there, and it's like, okay, it's been 2 years. Maybe I should do something with it.
Well, you have a totally different like point of view when you go back to it later on.
Yeah, and that's where the
totally different.
Something like learning from those mistakes or learning from
factors,
like it's huge. It's really huge.
Yeah. You use Lightroom to edit?
So I do. So I use Lightroom mostly for cataloging. Most of my main editing is in Photoshop. So as a graphic designer, I've been using Photoshop for so long. I just feel comfortable using Photoshop. It just it just works for me. So
Photoshop's great. Lots of tricks in there.
Yeah. So it's what I'll do is I'll actually start in Lightroom and kind of have like set up a base that I want to start with, and then bring it into Photoshop and do all the other stuff.
Nice. What's your favorite tool in Photoshop?
So I am big on using. There's a couple. There's this one plugin called Lumenzia.
Oh yeah, what does that do?
And so it's basically, how to describe it? It does luminosity masks.
Cool.
And so what luminosity masks are, it's very similar to what Lightroom has, the luminosity slider, like where you can make luminosity adjustments based like right in there. But with Photoshop, you're basically using layers.
Yeah.
So I can, for example, if there's a really like blown out area, really area of, like, say for example, a sky, I can fine tune just to get that area of the sky and play around with it, but just that specific area. So it just makes it a little bit easier to do those selective that it's still available. Like you can still do it in Lightroom fairly easily, but for me, just Photoshop, I'm just so used to using it. Like I use it daily at work, so it's one of those things.
Yeah. What do you think of the new like AI in Photoshop?
I've got mixed feelings about it.
Do you?
It's just like I understand where, like, okay, I'll take that back. There's a lot of great things about the AI in Photoshop. For example, like I have been able to clone out stuff so easily using the generative AI feature.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to add stuff in, like, okay, I played around with it just to add. I want to add like a boat or a person, and they just look horrible. Unfortunately, it's just at the point where it's not there yet. It's not enough to make it work. Excuse me. But
Interesting.
Yeah, it's great. I find it great for, like, say for example, there's like a can of pop on the ground that I want to get rid of.
Yeah.
Just cloning that out, it's so much easier that way.
People have done some crazy things with that new AI generative fill. I've seen it on YouTube. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. There's this one guy that's putting a lot of AI stuff out where
Yeah.
so he'll use one of his photos as like a base, and
Right.
it's almost like he's painting a photo
Yeah.
using AI stuff, and it's absolutely amazing. And for
Yeah.
like me, I can't think of his name,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Who knows where it's going to be in a year, right?
And that's the thing. It's changing so quickly where, maybe 6 months to a year, it'll be perfect.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find that like all like the AI stuff, so it's coming out of nowhere in the past year. Like all of a sudden, it's like AI is everywhere. On every single app you have now, there's an AI function.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Crazy.
still don't understand what the Instagram AI is all about, but
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about like the badge thing? What are you
yeah, something like there was a something on my Instagram that was like Meta AI, and I'm still like me. I have no idea what it does.
Meta AI?
Yeah.
Let me see. Maybe I didn't even notice it.
There's probably somebody that knows better
Meta AI. Zuck, if you're watching this, feel free to message. I don't know if I saw that or not. Meta AI.
I think it's a lot like a text-based thing, like you were, say for example, you can write captions or something along the lines. Maybe I just need to dig more into it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I don't know if it'll be interesting to see where it's in a year from now, and who knows? Maybe we're running from the Terminator all of a sudden.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's interesting because I saw somebody posted something that said, and I'm paraphrasing. I mean, I don't know the actual quote, but somebody was like, you know what? As an artist, I don't want AI to do my art. I want AI to do my laundry and
saw that. That's a good quote.
Do my dishes instead of doing my art.
It's true though.
It is true. Like
it's true though.
The whole point of us being artists is, sharing that creativity that we have inside us. And as soon as it gets to the point where it's like we're letting AI control all that, it's
kind of taking away like the human, like the human element from it.
Absolutely.
The human expression.
Absolutely.
Scott McKeegan. I believe the Meta AI is like a search box.
That makes sense.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
We will send that to Zuck for his review. Yeah, no, it's interesting because you're talking about like AI and Photoshop, and you can make a photo, not take a photo. Like, is this real or not? Like,
and
there's no like human element in there.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to know what's real and what's fake now. I'd say before it was clearly okay. This is clearly just a digital creation, but now it's that line is getting pushed further and further all the time.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
That's interesting, right? Like,
yeah,
that's why there's so much like nervous energy with artists about, oh, what's this? It's gonna take my job away and things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Which is interesting. I saw. So I think it's the Ansel Adams Foundation. They posted something to Adobe, and Adobe has their own AI version, I believe. That's not built into the app, but also separately, where I think you could actually create like landscapes from it. And I could be completely wrong, but they have an Ansel Adams kind of look that they were pushing out. And so the Ansel Adams Foundation, it was so pissed off with them.
Yeah, I found it.
Saying like, "Hey, this is not okay."
I found it.
Yeah,
I'll share it here.
Yeah.
Ansel Adams, they calls it Adobe or something. AI generator using photographer's name.
Yeah, and it's the point where, like, you have one of the most well-known landscape photographers, like in our generation, and Adobe, who's you think that they're pro creators. You would think because they're providing the stuff we use to create these, and it's just unfortunate. I think it's to the point where it's a lot of these companies they're going to be playing catch up because they just want to put out so much stuff to try and see what sticks and what doesn't. And a lot of this stuff is going to get, found out because they're just trying to make a buck. Like it's unfortunate.
That's crazy, man. So you could buy this AI generator for $80?
Yeah. And using his name and like,
wow.
Not there, like nothing goes to his foundation. And I know he has a really big foundation that, deals with or supports creatives and supports especially like young photographers. So it's one of those things. It's like, it's kind of sad that's the way they're going.
Yeah.
And I know, for example, this is not going to be the last one. This is going to happen.
Well, didn't Scarlett Johansson sue ChatGPT for like basically stealing her voice, essentially?
Yeah. So supposedly they said that the voice actor that did ChatGPT, is it 4 or 5? I can't even keep track.
I think it's 4.
Yeah. So it sounds very similar to her. I agree, it does. But supposedly they had the voice actor pre-booked before they even asked her. And
sure you did.
Yeah.
Sure you did.
It just so happens to sound exactly like Scarlett Johansson.
It's pretty similar.
It is pretty similar.
Especially because you asked her, she gave you the no. It's like, well, you got to move on, bro.
Why would you ask her in the first place if you didn't have some kind of like sneaky little suspicion about it already?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, shout out to Adobe. They just like taking money.
Yeah, and everybody's paying that monthly membership.
Well, he must have been paying. You're a longtime customer, bro. You gotta.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I get that all through work. So
beautiful.
Yeah, that's the one benefit. I'll take that.
What else are you using Adobe?
So I do. I use a lot of Illustrator.
Yeah. I've never used Illustrator. It scares me.
Illustrator, you know what? It's not that scary. Like it's literally okay. Do you remember Microsoft Paint?
Yeah.
It's basically that. It might be on steroids, but it's basically that. Like it's.
Does it also work with layers or no?
No, you're mostly using you're using a clip art or clipboard. Sorry.
Oh.
You could use layers, but that's really going advanced and not necessarily. But it's one of those things, and I've said this to people that have asked me questions about Photoshop that are really scared about using Photoshop because it is really intimidating when you've never used a program. Yeah. I always tell people just open up a picture on there and just play around with it. Yeah. Like just see what this does, see what that does, and you'd be amazing at how much you learn just from screwing around with the program.
Just try to break it.
Yeah, just try to break it.
Just try to break it. Just try to break the photo and just see what happens.
And to be perfectly honest, like Photoshop, it's such a huge program that even as photographers, like we probably use like 10% of what's in there.
Yeah,
like
I know, right?
It's crazy.
We got our own shortcuts and we kind of do our thing and then we just kind of move on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Similar to a lot of programs that we use a lot, we just kind of do our thing and move on. That's what I mean. Like you meet other people, it kind of breaks you out of your, like it kind of gets you out of your head and try different stuff. And so I'm just kind of doing the same thing over and over again.
For sure.
You know, but well, I'm glad you talked to me about Ansel Adams. I had no idea, bro.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. And like I said, it's gonna happen again with somebody else. There's what I'm not necessarily concerned about, but there's this talk about how a lot of our images that, for example, that are on Instagram or Facebook or any of these social media sites are going to be used in these AI programs to generate these things. So, for example, you can take a picture of like your kid, and 2 or 3 years later, like it could be used to generate another person's AI image.
Oh,
so because they're taking little bits and pieces of stuff that's shared online. Now, I'm not 100% sure if they're using those specific programs, but or social media programs, but who knows? Like
we don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Is this podcast even real? We have no idea. Just take our word. Just take our word for it.
Just keep on sending us money.
Verify.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, right. So what are you working on this year in terms of like photo stuff?
So last year I really struck out with astrophotography. It seemed like, and we were talking about this before the show
Yeah.
started, that you know, astro is very difficult in Ontario,
Mm,
especially as like a GTA photographer. Like you've got to
yeah.
drive like 3 to 4 hours just to get something decent. But I struck out because every time I wanted to go out, it was cloudy or it was raining or I couldn't make it. And so this year, I really want to try and focus on that.
Okay.
I've also been working on a little like personal project for the past couple of years.
Okay.
Nothing that I've ever shared, but it's more
Oh,
just
interesting.
yeah, it's just one of those things that I started maybe two to 3 years ago, where um, it's 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 basically nature uh, and urban kind of like fighting with each other, and like the almost like the juxtaposition of that,
Oh,
like capturing it in that way. Um, I'd like to actually eventually, when I'm ready to have that whole series done, I'd like to share it like just on my website or something like that.
yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's like I started out as something to kind of push me to take those pictures and to get me out of the house. And
Mm,
the more I kind of saw these pictures, also too, to it pushed me to kind of look for compositions or scenarios that worked in that theme, which
okay.
I find is very difficult sometimes, um, to see those images that you want, like
Right.
kind of working your brain to say, okay, I'm looking for a specific idea, um, while I'm out shooting whatever. And if it comes to me, that's perfect. I'll take this picture. But you know, just training myself to look differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, because you have a different goal in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nothing to do with sharing, like nothing to do with like, posting it for any other reason than I just wanted to capture a gallery or a series of stuff that kind of
Mm.
seemed interesting to me. I don't know.
And these photos aren't shared on right now. Like they're kind of
No,
still there's
they're sitting in my Lightroom catalog.
they're still interesting. So how many photos do you have right now of it?
Right now I probably have about five keepers that
Five
I
keepers.
five
Out of how
keepers.
many photos you took?
I've probably taken maybe 30, 40.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's nothing where um I'm trying to be very mindful about it too. Like just not
Mm,
taking a picture just to take the picture.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has to
Yeah.
like really say something to me.
Ah,
And like, and I've stopped myself to like say, okay, is this something that I really want to take a picture of, and does it work with what the goal I'm trying to take a picture of? Like, does this work with what I'm trying to capture? And there's a couple times where I said, no, you know what, I'm going to move on and just go on and do
mm,
whatever else I was doing. But yeah,
interesting.
it's just
Interesting.
something to just try to look outside of what I normally shoot as well. Because
Right.
when I first got into photography and was really like passionate about it, I was really into street photography,
Okay.
and I still am. I love the genre. Like one of my favorite photographers ever was like Vivian Mayer and Cartier-Bresson and
Hmm.
all those guys that could they captured these moments that were just like blow
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still appreciate them. It's just I cannot take those pictures.
You don't.
It's not in me to take those pictures. I For whatever reason,
Yeah.
what I see as like what I think of as good street photography,
Yeah.
I can't capture it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think like street photography is also very personal too.
Yeah,
Like I can't like it's you can only be you in
yeah,
terms of like your art.
yeah,
So I would just try to focus on like what you see and not try to like kind of try to be someone else, because that's basically, you know, that's impossible. I can't be that person.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you know, it's just, I don't know. I think that's what also makes art your art.
Yeah.
Talking about AI, it's like, well, how you see it is how you see it.
Yeah.
No one else can see it. That's just the way you see it. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But
So I know a photographer from the East End here. His name is Randy Nickerson, and he did a few series with where he'll actually just go up to people and just do like a street photo of like a random person, and
okay.
that in itself, just to go up to somebody that you don't know and say, "Can I take your picture?" is like, it's
Yeah.
that in itself is difficult.
Cojones takes a little
Yeah,
bit of cojones.
exactly. And
Yeah.
not only doing that, but capturing a really amazing, because he's an amazing photographer, capturing a picture that you'd almost like, you capture like a great moment with them.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see his stuff, because he's just so talented with that.
So this person like does like a mini like like interview with the person, or like what does the person?
So not even necessarily an interview, but just
Yeah.
like a just a chat, and then he'll take a picture.
Hmm.
So almost either like at the beginning or at the end of it, and
Yeah.
then share it with them, type of thing.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And he's not even really active on social media. Like he just does it for himself. Like it's,
Doesn't want the glory. Does it for
yeah.
himself. How refreshing is that?
You know what?
What are you, crazy? You're not sharing this?
It's so true.
It's
You
like,
don't want
what?
that dopamine hit? Come
You
on.
don't. You don't want that. Well, we just talking about like offline. We're talking about like social media detoxes, and it's like, well, he's living the dream right there.
Yeah, he's literally living it. Yeah.
Like, man, like you're not sharing that.
Yeah. It's tough because the push to like have to, almost it feels like you have to like share stuff is difficult,
Yeah.
especially because there's so we get inundated with pictures and content all day, and it's like, man, I need to take a break from all this, because it's like it's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost, yeah, you feel like compelled that you have to share it,
Yeah.
or else, you know. But you know, well, shout out to the guy for not going on social. That's great, man. It's like
Yeah,
he must be living a very peaceful life.
he is. I can only imagine.
Jeez, man. So you like you have a deadline for this personal project, or is it just kind of
Nope,
ongoing?
it's just ongoing.
Uh,
Whenever I purposely did not set a deadline, because I wanted to just it to kind of evolve into something.
mm,
It so I got the idea from, uh, I'm so bad with names, and I'm so bad at remembering all these like
sure.
little tidbits that I got. But there's a photographer that did a blog about a personal project that he had that he's been doing for like 25 years.
Nice.
And it's one of those things that like he went from shooting from film to digital to like capturing on his phone, but he purposely said, I don't want to actually set a deadline. I want this to be something that follows me through my lifetime, and my lifetime as a photographer, and something that I can, always go to and look back at, that there was this thing that I was trying to accomplish
Yeah.
in my journey. And that resonated with me completely. And I thought, that's such an amazing idea. I got to try it. And so when I was trying to figure out what to do with the idea, and how to work it into something that I would like to, as somebody who loves nature but lives in the like very close to the biggest city in Canada, I
Mm,
kind of thought that was like the perfect little blend of the two. So,
yeah, 100%.
yeah, and
It's a great idea, bro.
yeah,
It's a great idea.
it's kind of sort of worked out. And it's, if anybody has that idea that they want to do this themselves, I would completely recommend just looking at what you normally shoot and try and do something that is completely different from what you normally shoot.
Mm,
So you almost push yourself to get outside of that comfort zone, outside of that box,
yeah.
because it's amazing
Yeah.
at how just learning from shooting some, like, for example, like there's been times where I've just gone out in the city and shot, architecture, which I never do. And it completely changes the way I shoot the stuff that I normally do. Like I'll actually work in compositions and think about different ways to shoot maybe like a waterfall, which I'm so used to shooting.
Yeah.
Thinking about it in an architectural sense that
Interesting.
I might not have thought
Interesting.
another time. Like for example, there's a great photographer I think everybody knows, Todd Murison, who's
Yeah.
been posting a lot of like architectural stuff. That's just
Yeah.
like his stuff just blows my mind. Is just how he is able to like it's almost graphical how he
Yeah.
is able to like capture these pictures. And he's an illustrator, he's a graphic designer, so it really makes sense. It's in his
Right.
in his wheelhouse, but
Interesting.
it's really cool to see. It almost gets you to go like, okay, now I got to go out and take pictures of like a building or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you like do that? How would you shoot a waterfall like architecturally then?
So
It's not this photo on the far right, is it?
no. So for example, for example, if you're going to go to a waterfall, you want to try and capture the waterfall as a whole. But thinking of it in a different way, in an architectural way, you could think about it as shooting maybe shapes or shooting close up or shooting like contrast or something like that. So for example, I shot a couple years ago, I went to Inglis Falls, which is up in Owen Sound, and it's a very popular waterfall, especially from a lot of the people that are on Instagram. It's beautiful too, but the shot that I always see is the wide shot that that's the iconic shot.
Hero shot.
But one time I was like, you know what, I'm going to put on my longer lens and just get some tight detail shots and just try something a little different. And I was so when I came back to process the pictures, I was like blown away. I was like, wow, why haven't I done this before? Because it's like you're doing something a little different that you might not have normally thought about, but it worked. And it might not work all the time, but at this time it did work. And I actually got quite a few, well, maybe one or two shots that I really, really liked.
Yeah, man. No, it's a good way to also just to break like the rut. If you're in like a rut or you're like not motivated with photography or whatever, just try to do something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I like. That's a good hack though too.
Yeah. Like you always hear about the idea, take one lens and don't take the camera, or like
exactly.
a 50 millimeter and just shoot with that the whole day.
Exactly.
And just get your mind to think differently about shooting.
Yeah, it's totally different. Totally different experience too.
Yeah. Like for example, so you shoot, if you were to shoot your stuff like portraits or something like that, would you ever consider shooting like a lens that you normally don't shoot just to see how that works, like how it plays into like what you capture?
I probably would. Like, maybe if I'm always using like my 50, maybe I'll try to go wider.
Right.
And see like totally like something that I would never use for like a portrait shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm using like a, maybe I'm using like a 16 mil or something crazy like that. Like, okay, let's try this, like I've never done this, but let's try it.
Yeah.
But it kind of gets you out of the rut too. It kind of makes you think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Instead of kind of going through the same, like again, motions and
right.
I think that's why people get bored too, right? You're just doing the same thing. You got all the dials set in, you know exactly what to do, but you're not really there. You're just kind of like going through it. It's kind of like driving. Like you're not really thinking about driving. You're just driving.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like that kind of analogy, right?
It's interesting because once you've almost changed the way you do everything. It's almost like breathing. Like you're so used to breathing that you don't think
you don't even realize it.
Yeah, but just that one little change can change everything the next time you shoot with your normal lens. Like even just thinking about, okay, so I was shooting wide at one point. Let's try compositions that are closer up, or the opposite, like type of thing.
Yeah, I think it's good practice just to try and just to mix things up, because otherwise things may get a little bit dull. But what's the best waterfall in Ontario in your opinion?
That's a tough one.
In the fall.
So
yeah, man. You've shot a lot of waterfalls.
I've shot. There's
Oh.
so many waterfalls in Ontario. It's
How many are there?
there's so many waterfalls in Hamilton alone. It's
like the waterfall capital of the world, isn't it?
it is
Something
it is
crazy, something so
the waterfall
ridiculous.
capital of the world.
So
There's
crazy.
now, mind you, there's waterfalls that they're seasonal, so they only flow certain times of the year. So don't even bother going anywhere in the summer because it's just a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
But I really like so that one there, that's Hogs Falls.
Okay. Shout out to Hogs Falls.
Yeah. Speaking of like the close shots that I was talking about before,
yeah,
one of the shots is actually there.
Nice. What time? Look at me doing this thing. Cool.
I really like Tiffany Falls. And I know it's like it's super popular. Everybody's been there, but there's something about it, and I think it might just be like the moments I've had there, like the times that I've had going there. They're always very memorable. They're always so that one there with the close up is like one that I just decided, hey, this is kind of different.
That's cool. Was this in the evening or in the morning?
So that's early morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where is this?
So that's Inglis Falls. That's near Owen Sound.
Oh,
yeah. And there's tons of amazing waterfalls up in that way. Like there's so many.
Nice.
There's so many of them. I really like Tiffany Falls though. There's something about that place that it just
it's a feeling.
Yeah, it feels familiar. It's almost like, you know, when you go to a place and it feels like you're visiting an old friend kind of thing. Yeah. That's what Tiffany Falls feels to me. I don't know why. It is what it is.
Interesting. Yeah. Tiffany Falls. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's super easy to get to. Except for the parking that costs a fortune now.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
So that one there in the middle, that's Tiffany Falls.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those that just I just love going.
Man.
Yeah. And I've been there so many times, but it still feels like different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a personal feeling.
Yeah.
Like your experience is different than someone else's experience.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Sure.
So do you go by yourself usually when you do these things, or?
I tend to I have gone with other people. Like I enjoy going with other people.
Yeah.
Just sometimes it's hard to like work around schedules and find time to do stuff. But you know what? I found more recently that sharing like moments with other photographers it just makes the whole experience so much better. Like for example, like the Aurora, like just a few of us drove up to like Wasaga Beach and captured it there for a bit. But it's like getting to experience all those like a moment like that.
That's a banger right there.
Yeah, the eclipse, for example. Like I had a plan for like 3 or 4 months to go out to Prince Edward County and shoot it.
Okay.
But like the night before, it was overcast, forecast, and
we were all scrambling, man. We were all scrambling.
So
what's going on?
Eddie Chan and Kurt Wang had their meetup out towards Lake Erie. So I was like, screw it, I'm heading that way.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
What a great shot that is.
Yeah, that was it was one of those things where just experiencing it, and especially experiencing it with other people, was so cool.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough how getting to share moments like that with other photographers is huge.
Yeah.
And I know getting out to shoot alone, sometimes that's like a great stress reliever. Sometimes it's something that people need. I do it all the time. Just get out, especially for me, being in nature for like an hour or two. But the moments that I remember the most taking pictures is the times that I've actually shared it with other people. It's for sure, always.
Always, man.
And it doesn't even necessarily have to be like, oh, I caught a banger shot, but it's just like, I remember, you know, what we were chatting about that one time when I took this picture, or just there's a feeling towards it that it just makes it so much more memorable.
Yeah, that's why people make photo books and stuff, and they put them into photo albums, like back in the olden days, into photo albums, and
Absolutely.
kind of going through the photo album, you know.
Like, for example, when you do your meetups, it's always like you get people that are like, I captured this amazing picture with all these other people, and you can share that feeling with other people.
Always. Yeah, I think sometimes like it's about the photo, but sometimes it's not about the photo. It's about just being with others too.
Yeah.
Especially like post-pandemic, like people just want to get out and meet people in the city, you know? Like it's almost that simple sometimes, where it's like, I just want to meet people now. It's like
Absolutely.
the photo almost becomes secondary in a way, because you know, but again, that's why I said, that's what we said at the start, is it's always important to find the right group.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the photo club thing, it's like you have that ability to share ideas with other people, and just, you know, get your creativity kind of boosted from somebody else that might necessarily not even shoot the exact same thing as you, but like,
I actually like that. Find someone that doesn't shoot the same thing as you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're a street photographer, go find someone that does studio.
Yeah.
Totally different.
And just learn from them, because there's little tidbits that you might think, okay, this could actually work in like a bird shot, or like posing. Like, I know you can't go up and pose a bird, but like just, like understanding angles and how to like position a shot for a bird, where you learn somebody that takes portraits really well, they could help out that way. I don't know. It's
sometimes about like the philosophy of it, or the approach.
Right. Absolutely.
It's not even about the text. It's just about kind of about like how do you actually think about this shot? Like, how do you approach this?
Yeah.
Like, what's your like philosophy or model behind what you're trying to do, and see what that person says, right? But
it's amazing at what you can learn from just chatting with people about how they go about their process, because 100%. Everybody does it differently, right? Everybody does it differently.
No one does it the same way, bro.
Nobody does it the same way.
It's impossible.
It's interesting, because I think at first, like for me starting out, I was like, okay, where's the guide to taking pictures? Because this is what I want to do. Like, I want to be able to take the pictures that I'm seeing on. Back in the day, it was Flickr, so that was
still around.
Yeah, it's still around. It is, but like, there's no right way of doing it, and it's just experience where you learn. Okay, I can just do it my way.
Shout out Frank Sinatra. Like, how else? Like, what other way you're gonna do it though?
Yeah.
what other way you're gonna do it?
Yeah.
You know, that's why people, you know, some people try to copy other people, and they try to like kind of get their success, but you know, that other person's been doing it for 15 years. So you know what I mean? People are always trying to find hacks and shortcuts, but
it's this generation where it's like everything is just instant gratification, and
instant, right away. Gotta have it now.
Yeah, I gotta have
immediately.
You know, I need to post a picture, and it needs to get 15,000 likes, and
it has to be minimum
500 comments, whatever.
Yeah,
but
when you don't get it, it can be pretty devastating sometimes, because reality versus expectations. You know,
absolutely.
They generally don't match up,
and they never do.
They never do. Like,
never do.
What you think it is, it's not going to be that.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that much.
And it's interesting, because I have always thought of like photography as this long journey. Yeah. Like, for me personally, I've always thought like I'm nowhere near where I expect my photography to go. Like, I know there's been changes in, you know, what I like to shoot. I used to shoot a lot of birds, and I used to shoot like street stuff, and so it's ever evolving. And even now, like, I'm trying so hard to like simplify compositions and just think about it differently, and you know, almost evolve what I'm trying to shoot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You just want to get better, as we all do.
yeah,
You just
and
want to get better.
there's no roadmap for this. It's just gonna happen. Like it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. It takes time. It takes effort.
Yeah,
Just well, that's good that you want to evolve, because that means like you want to get better. I mean, if you didn't want to evolve, then it's like, well, what's the point of this? Like, why? Like, like
absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's what kind of like separates a lot of people. It's like, do you want to get better at this or not? And
Yeah,
I think that's when you kind of know if you're in it for like the long haul type of deal.
right.
Depends what you want to do. Like people want to do it for different reasons. They want to like start a business, side hustle. They want to do this, that. Like, it's important to know like why you're doing what you're doing too.
For sure.
Sometimes, like, what is it? Like, what are you trying to do with it?
Yeah, and you like you nailed it. It's there's sometimes where it's just I'm just here to to create content to share with other people.
Yeah, exactly. And that could go to a bunch of different ways in like 5 years time. Like, you never know where it's going to take you.
Absolutely.
Like, you never know where it's going to go. Like, the internet makes the world a very small place, and it just takes one person to see your thing. And it's like, well, I want you to do this for me, or whatever. Like, you just never know like who's watching when.
For sure.
It's crazy sometimes what happens on like online. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your number one tip with like composition for people out there?
Tip for composition.
Yeah. They're shooting birds or wildlife. Like,
I've always there's a design principle or theory or something is always to keep it simple. And
KISS method.
Yeah, the KISS method, absolutely. Sometimes I think we want to put, as photographers, you want to capture as much in the scene as possible, or as much like to try and capture everything as and put everything into it.
You want everything in the shot.
I want everything in the shot.
Everything.
I think sometimes we got to take a step back and say, no, I need to kind of like focus on something. And what it like, who knows what it is? You will know what it is when it's in front of you. A lot of the times it's like, why did I stop to want to take the shot? And figuring that out is
why you're doing it, you mean?
Yeah, because there's been times where I've been like walking around and like I stopped. This work really looks cool.
Yeah.
And there's a shot here, but why?
Why are you taking that shot?
Yeah, why am I taking this? And then that's where I think that's where creativity comes in, and that's where you fine tune it to work. But simplicity it's a tough thing to accomplish, but it's always so much more rewarding when you have something that follows that.
You're not talking about minimalism, are you? Talking about like keep like
not even minimalism, but just something that's just like, for example, there's like a beautiful river or something like that, but all these like tree branches that are just all over the place that going every which way. Maybe focusing just on the river, but like just changing the way you're looking at the composition instead of trying to capture everything.
Right. Yes. I agree with that.
It might just be about just changing the way you want to capture the
something like this
feeling.
Yeah, simple.
Exactly. And it's interesting. So there was a bunch of I think it was on the right hand side.
Okay.
There was a bunch of boxes. So a bunch of fishing stuff. So nets and boxes and like cords and stuff like that. And so I recall actually taking a couple steps over to the side to just because I took the shot with all this stuff in there. Like I took the wide shot.
Yeah.
But then I took a step over to kind of keep it out of the frame. And that's why it's kind of cut off the right side of the bill.
Yeah, I see. That's all right. It kind of works though.
Yeah, I really liked how it simplified the whole thing. There was the colors are fairly in the same kind of bluish greenish thing where I think some of the chords were yellow, which added like a little bit of a color contrast that didn't
Yeah.
fit. But just stuff like that. We're just changing what you would normally just try to capture all of it to like narrow down something a little
It's a
bit
good
more.
tip. I like it. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're waiting for someone to come out that door.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's coming out of that one.
No, eh? It's like, what are you? Get off my lawn.
It was literally the tiniest little like fishing hut.
Yeah.
So last year, a friend of mine, he moved to Newfoundland, and he's a photographer himself. So it was kind of like a go visit him and check out his new digs, but also take pictures of one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah, man.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Shout out Newfoundland.
Yeah, it is. I can't wait to go back because I only really explored like the St. John's, the Avalon Peninsula kind of area. So the far east side of the island. And there's so much to see there. Like, I'm still blown away by like just what's there. It's just amazing. And the people are amazing. The food is amazing. It's just
it's in our own country, man.
Yeah, it's in our own country, and that's
our own country.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I think we should all get out there at some point.
Absolutely,
as not Canadians, we should all get out there.
I couldn't recommend it enough.
Support Newfoundland, 100%, man.
It's such a beautiful place.
Love it, man. That's a great. I love the photo. It's a great photo, bro. I love it.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, even stuff like that. I like that too.
I do a lot. So starting out, when I was like really learning to use my camera, I would just go down to the lake and just play with exposure and play with, different things. And so Lake Ontario is one of those places that I always go to just mess around. If I just have like an hour or two, like between having to go pick up my daughter from work or my daughter from school, I'll run down to the lake and just
disciplined about it.
Yeah, so it's one of those places that I always go to, and
it's nice, man.
It's my serenity, I guess.
No, it's good. Plus, those photos came out nice. Like the lake had some mood that day. Eh?
Yeah, it's amazing how much the lake changes. Like just it can go from like being like almost like glass, like crystal clear, perfectly steady, like literally like glass, to having these monster waves and like these crazy clouds in the background.
Plus those rocks came out handy.
Yeah, it's interesting because that particular shot, it's very difficult to find out if those are like monstrous, like you could step on them and or they're just tiny because of there's no scale to it.
Yeah, but, and are they big or are they small?
They're pretty small, so they're probably like your 1 foot could probably fit on that one.
Wow, what a camera trick, bro!
Yeah, it is.
What a camera trick. Those things look like,
and they look massive.
They look massive, like they came out from wherever, the Ice Age or something.
And it's one of those things. It's like you discover all these little, especially just along the lakeshore. There's so like every time I go, I'll even go to the same spot over and over again, and every single time I go there, I catch something different. I see something different. It never constantly changing, and there's
always something to see.
Yeah, that's why I'm constantly heading back there. It's
good though. Yeah. What's your favorite season to shoot in?
I love fall. That's especially when you're shooting landscape stuff. That's like kind of like that's the season for me.
Yeah.
Every year I do like a camping trip out to Algonquin Park and just a couple days to just shoot. Actually, Scott, who's in the chat. Yeah, he met up with me there for a couple days, and we shot up there, and it was awesome. It was it's just one of those things. It was like you're almost overloaded with like all this color and these scenes that are just all in front of you, and it's all it changes so quickly. Like
it does up there. Eh?
You got such a small window.
Yeah.
To capture all this stuff, and you
got to time it just right, eh?
Yeah.
You see bear up there too?
I've never seen a bear yet. I've seen a moose way in the distance that I didn't have a camera nearby, but that was the mission last year, and it didn't turn out. But that's why I'm going again in October. So
fun, man, lots of fun.
Yeah,
good stuff. Well, we're kind of up against the hour, so just wanted to say thanks for coming on. Really love to have you back on at some other point in time.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
But any final words out there for the viewers, listeners?
No, just thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Everyone go check out Chris there. Link is in the description of this video. Go show him some love.
Thank you.
Tell him Paul Open Shutter sent you.
Absolutely.
Cool, bro. Thanks, Thanks everyone for watching this, and we'll see you next time. Peace.